final Friday night from Findlay High School, where for the second time this season, the Chieftains and Blue Devils are going to meet up. This time's a little bit more important. Hopewell won week 1. Can Carey come back and defeat them in the regional final and move on to a state final 4? You'll have to hang out right here live and free on the OH Report to find out next.
Searching for stationery that feels personal? Make it truly inspired. From custom wedding invitations and greeting cards to business stationery and gifts, every design from Truly Inspired Paper Company is handcrafted in Ohio. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, saying thanks, or sharing everyday joy, we make it easy to create something beautiful and memorable. Visit trulyinspiredpaperco.com and make every message truly inspired.
Josh Banks welcomes you inside the Danners Towing and Recycling pre-game show for tonight's regional championship matchup between the Hopewell Loudon Chieftains and the Carey Blue Devils. Joined alongside my color commentary guy tonight, Mr. Sean Adams. And Sean, these guys played in week 1. A dominant performance by Hopewell, beating Carey 30-7. But we've both seen it. Carey is rolling right now in the playoffs.
You know, Carey just knows how to win, and so does Hopewell Loudon. And, you know, week 1 was a long time ago. And, you know, that's what good teams do, is just get better and better each week. And, you know, here Carey is, after starting 0-3, ready to play for this game, and then Hopewell just keeps cruising. And, you know, it's going to be a battle of two small, big big-time programs here in the area.
We'll go ahead and start off by looking at those Carey Blue Devils, led by head coach Jonathan Merschman. They are 9-4, 6-1 is what they finished in the Northern Pens. They finished co-champs with the Eagles of Colonel Crawford. They're looking to get back to the Final Four, which it hasn't been that long. They just won a state title in 2021. They averaged 31 points a game. They allow 12, but they only allow 160 yards on the defensive side of the football.
Well, you get this time of year, and what's the old adage that offense wins games and defense wins championships, and both of these schools pride themselves on defense, and it's going to be a battle of an old school block down, kick out with Carey, and then Hopewell Loudon's going to come with several different formations and try and keep them off guard. So I can't wait to watch this ball game tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one for sure as we are getting ready for kickoff. We're going to get you guys' clock up and rolling in 1 second. But again, both of these teams really kind of rolling at the right time. In high school football, it doesn't matter how you start it, it's how you finish. And kind of one thing I think you and I both know and we've seen is this Carey team, when it's time to win, they know how to win. Coach Merschman does a great job with them. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of the changes that have been made coming into this contest.
Well, and we talked earlier about their start, their tough non-league schedule starting off the year with LCC and who else was there on that?
LCC, Galleon, and of course Hopewell.
And Hopewell, yes. I mean, that's just a tough, brutal way to start the season, and they've just been rolling ever since.
Carey kicks off to Hopewell to start this one off. Hopewell will take possession at about the 23-yard line as we are underway from the beautiful Donnell Stadium here on the where the University of Findlay plays, Findlay High School plays. Busy time for these guys as they have a game here tomorrow as well. But we're going to focus on this one.
And talking to Coach Merschman, Hopewell's utilizing a 3-quarterback system. Right now they're starting off with their passing quarterback, Kobe Ellis.
And first play of the game is going to be a handoff, and he's going to be met in the backfield. No gain there for Hopewell. That should be a TFL. And that's a big play for Tyler Bowes defensively. You never want to start the game behind the chains.
Well, the guard pulled him, and he just did what his coach knew and followed him and made the play in the backfield. Good job by that kid staying flat.
Ellis in the backfield.
Got 3 receivers up top on 2 guys.
And actually, it's going to be one of the other quarterbacks in the contest now. It's going to be interesting to see how this 3-quarterback system works. We'll see kind of more of a read option look, I think, in this situation. And it's going to cause a delay of game on Hopewell. Not the start you want if you're the Chieftains.
Right. That, like you mentioned, this is number 8, the Franker kid. He was injured the first 4 games, I believe, this season, and Rickman actually took over for him when they went to the Wildcat. So now you've got Franker, Rickman, and Jacoby Ellis as the 3-quarterback system. But I believe this is a run formation all night long.
Yeah, Franker's in quarterback, and it's going to be interesting to see our player spotlight for the Carey side of things. Number 48, that's Mace Puckett, 124 tackles on the year. A quick pass wide open downfield.
Carey's saying he fumbled it. I mentioned before the penalty that when you looked out there, they had 3 guys out there and only two defenders. They took advantage of it with a slant to the number 2 receiver.
Yeah, a quick slant found somebody wide open, and that's kind of the thing with Carey is they're going to play man-to-man. You're not going to see them dropping the much zone. But playing in the N10, you really face teams that want to ground and pound just like they do. So we'll see what type of adjustments they make tonight against a team that's not afraid to air it out.
Now here's Brody Brickman in as the quarterback, and they got Hopewell to drop.
And that's going to be 2 penalties early here in the first quarter, inside of the first 2 minutes to Hopewell. You're shooting yourself in the foot because here's the thing. I've seen Carey twice now this year, and you do not want to punt to them on your first drive and allow them to drive down the field and score and get that lead, because then they're just going to ground and pound all night long.
And you know, that's obviously the key to Carey's success, is just to keep the ball out of these guys' hands. Now they got Jacoby Ellis back in at quarterback.
Passing situation, absolutely. They're going to go twins on both sides. Little dump off, breaks a tackle, but nowhere to go. And I tell you what, the Carey sideline is fired up after that play.
Well, you know, they motion out here to empty, and then they try to come back with a little slip screen to the opposite side of the field. And I don't think the tackle made it out there in time. And just a good job by Carey recognizing that play and getting the ball and making a punt.
And now Hopewell's going to punt to the Carey offense, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens from there. Logan Summit back to return for the Blue Devils. It's a great punt. It's going to take a huge Hopewell roll and get down right at the 20. So while we've got a quick break in action, let's go ahead and talk about our player spotlight for Carey. And I mentioned him already. He is a dual threat guy offensively and defensively. It's going to be Mace Puckett, the junior slot back linebacker. How about 237 carries for 1,467 yards? And that's not all. He's got 124 tackles on the defensive side of things as well.
Well, you know, it's fun to watch these kids play football. There's no such thing as specializing on offense and defense. You put your best 11 out there, you play Ironman football, you get in shape, you stay in the weight room, and you know, you're going to play long plays.
Steen and the Puckett's behind him. They'll go Steen first play. Ball's out. And is Hopewell going to recover it? They are. They try to go to Eli Steen first play. He gets hit low, loses the football. Hopewell will recover. And now they're going to have the ball in the red zone.
Yeah, what a big time play. You know, I was going to mention the Aiden Ewald kid, number 72. Just a complete stud for the Hopewell Loudon defensive line. And I think they tried to run right at it.
They did.
And you don't want to do that too many times, or you're going to see what's happening.
And that's kind of what we've seen, you know, what everybody's seen that's played Hopewell. Carey already seen it this year as well. There's a reason that Hopewell held Carey to 7 points. They're going to go play action. He'll keep, but nowhere to go. And if you're a Hopewell, you know, we see the 3-quarterback system. Ellis is really the passer. But both times that they've had another quarterback in the game, Sean, they've looked to throw it. I'm shocked.
Hey, you know, I don't know if they're trying to break tendency or what, but, you know, they definitely have shown them all kinds of different looks here early on in the game. Now they got an empty look, and Franker's in the backfield by himself.
Almost a quarterback power type situation here.
There's a lot of gaps there.
Yep, and that's what they're going to do. They'll go power. Couple yards, as you'll see it on the replay here, and kind of what we expect from Franklin in the game is exactly what we can see.
Right, yeah. You mentioned that power, you know, they use the H-back to kind of kick out, go backside guard, but I think the team from that play was the backside linebacker, ready to guard, went opposite day and made the tackle. Good job by that.
And now they'll have that third quarterback in the game, the one that replaced Frankert when he got hurt.
This is Brody Franklin. Now they're going to run a quarterback sneak. He's a little bit quicker than Frankert. And now they've got about fourth and what?
Yeah, it looks like we'll be fourth in it looks like it might be a yard and a half. We'll call it 4th and 1. And now it's an interesting scenario. You already punted once. What type of kicking game do you have? Do you try to get on the board here, or do you trust that you can get a yard with your offense?
I think those guys are saying we can get that.
Frankert's back in and empty.
We got to get that.
Yep.
Take advantage of the turnover.
Yep, they'll
look
put
up top again, number 3. You know, we got 2 guys out there on the 3 receivers.
See if they notice that. I think it's going to be another power. It is going to be a power. And he's going to break off to the right side. He'll have the first down and a couple more. It almost got blown up in the middle. Franker did a great job of kind of bouncing that off of that outside guard and got the first down.
Yeah, they tried to run like a little GT or a GH with pulling the backside guard, kicking out, and leading up through. And Carey did a nice job of stuffing the hole, and he just kind of logged the guy, and Franker went outside. Boy, he punishing runner.
Yeah, very strong.
Only 210.
Yeah, I'd add maybe another 10 onto that, 220, maybe 225. But here's the thing, when you've got the athletes around these quarterbacks that Hopewell has, it's what makes it allow you to be able to run that 3-quarterback system.
Absolutely. It's so hard to, as a defensive coordinator, you got to prepare for this. You got to prepare for this. You want to see about 4 different formations. And it's just a lot for the team to digest. And then, when you got this big, powerful quarterback, you still got to make tackles.
And how about this Hopewell team? Let's put up their team spotlight for everybody to see. We talked about Carey's defense. Hopewell on the season allows 8.5 points per game.
There's no question why both teams are here.
No, there's not, and it's defense. I mean, everybody loves the flashy 40-point game. These guys, they'll put up 40, but they're only gonna give up 7.
And they don't care if they win ugly. We want to be physical on both sides of the ball and block and tackle. They're just so fucking out.
Dash Puckett makes the stop there. And we've got 7:01 left here in quarter number 1. Again, Josh Banks here alongside my colleague tonight, Mr. Sean Adams, and it's kind of been what we expected. I don't think either one of them expected to carry fumble after forcing a punt, but their red zone defense is very stout. They like to stop the run.
Well, you mentioned the time. I'm sure you think the time of possession would be Carey's favor. And here it is in Hopewell's favor. Now they
keep on the outside, and he'll walk in. Touchdown, Hopewell. And that's that quickness that you talked about from Brickman. He got the edge, nobody was getting it.
Right. Nice zone read there by Brody. Read the defensive end. He comes crashing down, and you pull it. So just a good job by him.
Overplayed by Carey leads to a Chieftains touchdown, and they make the turnover hurt.
Right, and you get to playoff football, penalties, turnovers. We thought weather might be a factor, and it looks like it cleared up. Rain's no longer around, but you got to take advantage of these mistakes. Obviously, Hopewell Loudon did. There we are running that push. Makes me wonder what kind of kids game Hopewell Loudon has. Then going for 2 here early in the contract.
And maybe that's kind of one of those things where Carey does have a kicking game, but if you get that 2 there, you kind of force their hand a little bit. But it's risky to me. Carey already made you punt on your first possession. You did force a fumble, but we know Carey's going to be able to move the ball. Could that come back to bite you if you don't kick it there and Carey goes down and scores? They kick it, they go 1, then they just have to score with it.
Well, I know, obviously there's a reason why Coach Coggins won so many games. Maybe 3 different state championships. He knows what he's doing, and he can sit up here and boo-hoo and question a whole lot of things, but, that's something that could come back. That might be something that we learn right now and put that in the back of our minds as we continue to watch this game.
It'll be interesting to see now what Carey does. Eli Steen, not somebody I think you or I expected to get to close Carey after kind of what he's endured this season. They give it to him. I expect it to be the dashing Mace Puckett show for the rest of the contest.
Well, obviously Carey's going to have to get in a rhythm offensively, trying to get their guys the ball. And, it was kind of uncharacteristic that the first play they gave it to that guy. But we got this number 7, too. Look at this defensive line for Hopewell Loudon.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, they go.
They're fast, they're strong. I'm not so sure that Carey pound them like they were pounding everybody else.
22, 22, 40, 255 across the front. And then you've got Frencher, that linebacker quarterback that goes 6'2", 210.
Yeah, and they're not a bunch of pussies.
No, they're big, they're strong, but they are also very quick off the ball. They'll turn around, they'll pitch it. This will go to Mace Puckett, our player spotlight for Carey. He'll break a tackle, and it's a good gain there for Puckett.
Here in 2025, you see maybe the Maryland Eye occasionally on the goal line. It's kind of refreshing to see this, you know, old school. And we're going to line up and we're going to touch the foot and we're going to block that, and kick out.
It's so much fun to watch. You know, you see Carey do it. The Lucas Cubs come to mind as another team that wants to power, run the football. They'll stay in that Maryland Eye. This is Carey's favorite formation. Now they're going to shift out of it. This will be a watch for a little stretch play to that right side where they just shifted both of those guys.
A little bit of an unbalanced look in it. Way unbalanced.
Still driving the feet as Puckett. Ball comes out again, but they'll call him down. Kind of trying to get the extra yardage again. Carey's got to be careful doing that, as he was down there, but that's now twice the ball's come out. That one will give them an HDER link first down, and they're moving the ball. But here's the thing, if you're Carey, you're now down a score. You have to put points on the board on this drive because your type of offense, you can't afford to go down 2.
Right, and you know, that's what good teams do, is you match the score with the score. Here they are unbalanced, and they got them way outnumbered on top.
Unbalanced, they'll go pitch this time. Puckett will cut inside, he'll break off the right side, still breaking tackles, stood up.
You know, just some physical play out here. You got everybody's blocking. You know, when I talked to Coach Mershman this week, he made the point of emphasis. We have to block better. And it wasn't just the offensive line. It wasn't just the back. It was the receivers, the quarterback, the fullback, the whole offensive line. We have to block as a team all over the place.
Well, because here's what you'll see. When they go this Maryland Eye, they run that toss play. Trip Phoenix, the quarterback, then becomes a lead blocker for them on the outside. If he doesn't do his job, his running back's going to get killed on the edge. This will be handed off to Dash up the middle, nowhere to go.
Well, and you notice that the first 2 plays that they ran that they got first downs, where did they go? They went outside.
Yeah.
Here they come back inside and they gain more.
You get one on the inside, but here's the thing with Carey, they're going to continue to go. They'll go toss, they'll go a little off tackle, kind of what we've seen where they went unbalanced, and then they'll come back inside, because if they stay in that Maryland Eye, you don't know if it's going to be tossed, you don't know if it's going to be dive. Heck, I've even seen Phoenix do a little QB sweep out of that Maryland Eye after 2 fakes up the middle.
Well, you know, you always got to protect the middle. Who's in the middle right now? Number 72. So they're taking over the unbalance, and they're saying, okay, big 72, take care of the middle.
This will depend on the spot. Ball comes out again, Hopewell thinks.
He didn't get a very good spot there. It looked like he was way over the 45-yard line. They've got him marked just behind that. Now it's short.
Ball definitely came out before he was down, that's for sure. You guys just seen it on the replay. But it's going to be 4th and the nose of the football here for Carey. A huge 4th down early in this contest for the Blue Devils.
Well, you know, when they get into that unbalanced flip, I want us to think about this coming down the road. This backside guy is a tight end that is eligible.
Yep.
So we might have to think about a pass, you know, coming back to this backside tie down on when they're unbalanced. There they go. They just go off tackle. Not up the middle, but off tackle and outside seems to be where their honey hole is.
Well, and here's one thing that you'll notice about Carey, and you called it out perfectly. Their favorite thing to do is they're going to run that off tackle. They're going to run that pitch. And then if they do throw it, they're going to go play action on that off tackle. They're going to roll Phoenix backside. And that tight end, 95% of that tight end is going to either run a quick out or he's going to run a deep post. And he's wide open almost every single time.
They just lull you to sleep, lull you to sleep, lull you to sleep, and then boom. No, but I think they're just happy doing this right here. They're still unbalanced up top.
It'll go to Puckett again. Mace met in the backfield, this time by the Chieftains. And that's a big play for Hopewell. And that's what you have to do. You have to meet. They normally, with Carey, they're not going to run to that unbalanced side. They're going to go opposite of that.
Well, they're hoping that you kick over to them. So, when I always look at somebody, I draw a line from the center, and I say, how many guys do I have on this side, and how many guys do they have on this side? That time they were way outnumbered on the short side.
They were outnumbered on the short side, and it showed by that TFL. They're going to throw it downfield. He's got Dash Puckett, who's unable to come away with it, but they wanted to go deep. That's Kyler Bowes playing tight end for Carey, and that's exactly where they wanted to go. He ran a deep post route. Great coverage downfield, and that's what you have to do if you're Hopewell.
Well, and I think that's a great call by Coach Mercer on second down. Do a little play action. Now I think you want to get back to the run game. Not coming close to the shoot, but just maybe there's some thought.
We are inside of 90 seconds to play. Yeah, if you get in that fourth down scenario, you punt it away, you pin them deep. They're going to go keeper for Phoenix. He's got the edge on the right side. Phoenix is going to get about 6 before he's brought down.
Clock's running, and coach is going to take his time and see what he wants to do. Now we got, 4th and 5?
Looks like about 4th and 5, maybe a long 5, might even be 6. But here's the thing, if you're Carey, and I'll ask you this from your coaching background, you're on the 39-yard line. That's obviously too long for a high school field goal. How much do we trust our defense to go for this and potentially give them this good a field position?
Oh, it looks like they're trusting their defense wholeheartedly here. Now they've got Hopewell on this side. Now here they go.
Puckett's got an edge. He breaks a tackle. He's going to be short of the first down, though. Puckett had the outside. They had the numbers. If he's able to break one more tackle, Mr. Adams, he might still be running. Ray Hoover.
When they did it on the other side, they were able to adjust. So they just flipped the formation. I saw one guy kind of miss the block and not sustain it, and that guy came off and made a tackle. And that's exactly what Coach Bushman was talking about. We have to block that. And
yeah, if that seal block happens there, you've got an easy first down and some there for Puckett.
Absolutely. Now you've got your defense in a upper block here. Now you look up top, you still got 3 receivers on 2 guys.
Yeah, you got trips, only 2 guys out there covering. You'll see somebody step in. Franker going to be met in the backfield. Braden Williams meets him in the backfield. And how long before kind of Hopewell notices that what's happening is they're playing, it's man-to-man, but it's almost like that middle linebacker is dropping into like a small, like a cover 1 almost.
Well, I'm almost thinking it's kind of a cover 2 shell because the corner is rolled up to take care of the flats, and then you have the safety over number 2, and then there is, if you want to call it, somewhat of an outside linebacker that is rolled out a little bit for the hook side. But nothing to take away the bubble.
Nothing to take.
If you ran the bubble, it's going to be let it go.
That's going to do it for quarter number 1. It's one of the fastest quarters I've been a part of this year. 6-0 Chieftains after 1. We'll be back for the second quarter after this commercial break.
Searching for stationery that feels personal? Make it truly inspired. From custom wedding invitations and greeting cards to business stationery and gifts, every design from Truly Inspired Paper Company is handcrafted in Ohio. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, saying thanks, or sharing everyday joy, we make it easy to create something beautiful and memorable. Visit trulyinspiredpaperco.com and make every message truly inspired.
back inside the beautiful Donnell Stadium here in Findlay, Ohio, where the Chieftains lead the Carey Blue Devils 6-0. Josh Banks alongside Sean Adams. And the first play of the second quarter is going to be a deep out route caught by Hopewell. He'll get about 7 yards. He'll make it about 35 for Hopewell, and that's kind of the first time we've seen them really sling it here in this contest.
Well, you know, Jacoby was in on that play, and you know, it almost looked like a pick. You know, the other two receivers came and ran a whip route, but I didn't see the whip part of the route.
There was no whip.
The guy, and they hit the guy in the flat, so good play design there.
Great play design. They're going to leave Jacoby in the game. They're going to go trips on the near side, one guy to the far, running back on his left hip. We're in 5 seconds, though, for the play clock. 3. They're going to get the snap off. Ellis going to look to throw. He's got a guy over the middle. It's caught for a first down, and that's a great job by Ellis to just kind of sit in the pocket, read the defense, find that opening, and make a phenomenal throw.
Great read by Jacoby there. You know, they motioned the Franklin kid out, and they widened that outside linebacker, and then the receiver was able to curl right there into the window, and Jacoby stood up and threw a dime right to the kid. Great job by Jacoby.
First and 10 for Hopewell. They'll go keeper on the right side for Brickman. He cuts it back in. Get about 4. And it's really interesting to kind of see as that first quarter was really dominated by Hopewell.
You know, it's kind of like they took a page out of the Terry framework. How many times did they throw? Twice?
Looks like they threw it. I want to say they have 3 completions for 16 yards.
Yeah, they just spread the Terry out and making them run. still got 3 guys over here on 2.
Yeah, they're going to drop one back. The bubble is wide open. Franker doesn't even look at it, and he'll have a first down. But you called it there. That bubble was wide open on this left side had he seen it.
Right. It's just, why throw it when you don't have to?
Yeah, and it's exactly what, we kind of talked about. Carey's going to take a timeout here. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the script here. We're going to talk about our player spotlight for Hopewell. And it's going to be Jacoby Ellis. He comes in 1,500 yards on the season with 23 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. 128 yards a game is where he sits at. But really, I think the big thing for him is just the transition they make when they go from Brickman and Franker to Ellis. You know what's coming. You know he's going to throw it, but he throws it very effectively.
And they do such a good job of getting their defense out of position. The last time Jacoby threw for that first down, that was a big play.
Huge
motion
play.
Franker out, right the outside linebacker, and then ran the curl right behind him. Just great play design. Jacoby stood in there and nailed it. And I know Jacoby personally, just a fantastic kid. All he wants to do is win.
Yep.
He's the quarterback great. If Franker's the quarterback great. If Franker's the quarterback great. It's a team player all the way around. Just a great kid. I love Jacoby.
Brickman in the game now. Brody Brickman got a running back from left hip. They're going to go heavy on the right side. He'll keep it up the left side. He's got a hole up the left side, and Brody Brickman is going to take another one to the house for the Chieftains. And how about 2 of them into the end zone for number 7?
Well, they now they're running the GT, or actually it's a GH using the H-back. Fake it one way, you essentially have 2 running backs.
Yeah.
And, faking the one way and coming back with the GT with the big 225-pound, supposedly quarterback, the Franker kid.
Well, and that was Brody Brickman at 5'11", 160. And here's the thing. The difference between Frankhart and Brickman, I think, is what makes him so dangerous. Is they'll line up to go for 2 here. It'll be Brody Brickman at the quarterback spot. He'll take the snap. He's going to look to keep it. That's Franker all the way. He'll keep it, and he will punch it in for 2. 14-0 Chieftains. They punched in 2. We're going to see if their defense can hold up after this timeout. 14-0 Hopewell after that run from Brody Brickman. Josh Banks back alongside Sean Adams, and you were just kind of talking about what Carey's doing. Let's go ahead and talk about that on the air, as Carey's going to be pinned at about the 22-yard line to start this drive.
Well, obviously Hopewell has the momentum, but, from a defensive standpoint, I'm looking at Carey, and to me, they're lining up saying, here we are, this is how we're going to line up, you block us. And, Hopewell saying, okay, we will. I would like to see Carey kind of move their front a little bit, maybe start a little bit, or give them some different looks on what they're trying to do. Hopewell Loudon's offensive line, because right now, those 2 backs and that offensive line are just having a heyday.
Yeah, the 2 quarterbacks, I don't think they've handed the ball off yet. Now you're going to see Carey going to this wing T formation, almost a wishbone. Turn around, hand it off up the middle. That'll be Is that Big Eli Steen again, number 24?
Yep.
It sure is.
And, you know, the double slot here, you got ISO both ways, and you're kind of spreading them out a little bit too. But, you know, right now, you can't afford to not answer the zone.
Yeah, and
whether it's field position or a score, but you're going to have to take the ball and get first down.
Well, and that's kind of what we were talking about after Hopewell put up that first score, going up 6-0. Carey, not really a team that can afford to go down multiple scores because they don't score fast, as this is going to be a run on the left side for Puckett.
What a great play. I haven't seen that play since you know who left Chicago.
Yeah.
And, you know, the old double dive. You fake to the fullback and then you give to the next guy. I love that play. Great execution by Carey.
And they actually, believe it or not, I just watched the replay, they gave it to the third guy through, so they faked to Steen. Dash Puckett ran up behind Steen, and then they handed it off the outside to Mace Puckett, and that's what Carey's known for, but kind of the problem you're in is you don't strike fast. They'll bring Steen in motion. They're going to have two backs in the backfield. Phoenix turns around, hands it off to Puckett. Up the middle, he's got a big hole, unable to break a tackle, or it might be 6.
There's that one block that we talked about. You know, somebody let that guy slide off and make the tackle. But you look at Hopewell Loudon, everybody and their brother up there in the box.
They do.
Stop the run, and then they're athletic enough to stop the back. If you leak out of back, they're fast enough to recover.
And that's big 72-80 Ewald making the tackle. How about the 255-pound D lineman getting downfield?
Just love that kid. You know, at halftime, we're going to be able to see him play his hand. This is a big team player for the Hopewell Loudon band.
They'll go pitch to Puckett on the right side. Dash Puckett's going to be met after about 2 yards by this Hopewell defense. And I think that's been the most impressive thing so far is how good is this Hopewell defense. They come in giving up about 160 yards a game, but again, only 8.5 points per game. They're the real deal.
They sure are. We've already talked about it. It starts to go forward.
It does.
They're just smart. I like their size. I like their athletic. You know, that's the kind of defensive line that you want.
They're going to bring pressure up the middle. They're going to hand it off. No, Phoenix is going to keep on the left side. A great job by the Hopewell defense to read that from Phoenix as he looked to keep that off the left side. And it's a great play from guess who? Brody Brickman. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns and a big tackle right there.
Well, you know, and I saw before that they were in that double slot look. They have both of those slots covered. I'm not sure Hopewell Loudon had both of those guys covered, but they didn't really care. We're fast enough on the back end. We'll make up for it, but you are not going to run the ball on us.
You know, they're putting 9 guys in the box telling them to beat them as they're going to come up. They've got nobody more than 8 yards off the ball. This time it's going to be Dash Puckett. Almost bobbled exchange there from Phoenix to Puckett. As it looks like Phoenix might have miscounted his steps as he went to make that handoff. But now, guess what? Hopewell forces Carey to punt. We've got 3:40 left here in the half. And if you're Hopewell, you put up another score here, you might be putting this one out of reach.
Well, you're right. And, we talked about this drive start. You got to flip the field. You got to score some points. And they got 1 first down. You know, maybe they can make something happen here on special teams. Try and change them out.
Caught. Hold up the left side. Stiff arm. He's got a corner. A great tackle by Carey. Or else Jack might be running for 6.
They had a nice ball set up over here. You know, and you can kind of see the body language of the kids kind of hanging their heads a little bit. I'd like to see one of the senior leaders for Carey step up and make the plays and try and get them back.
Because here's the thing, if you're Carey, all it takes is one play. One big hit. Get the fire back in you. Get the fire going as they're going to go trips far side. Again, only 2 guys rotate over, though. They'll run 1 off of the field. That H-back lined up on the right side. Frankfurt's going to keep it all the way, and he balls out. It's going to be recovered by Hopewell, though. But there's that big play almost for Carey that we were just talking about.
Well, you know, and if you look at the numbers in the box, you got those two guys out there, and then you have a tight end, and you have an H plus the quarterback. That's 8 guys. Carey doesn't have 8 guys in the box to stop this.
No.
They're going to have to figure out a way to get more guys into the box to try and stop this run. Now you got the fast kid. So you go from tackling the big heavy kid to now after the tackle Brickman is much more.
Brickman's going to keep it up to the right side. First down for Hopewell. And it's kind of interesting to see, and it'll be interesting, you know, Coach Merchant is phenomenal at adjusting at the half. But what's interesting is Hopewell will throw the ball. So the adjustment you're going to have to make is to force him to be in the air. The defense Carey playing right now, I don't know if they want to force that to happen.
Well, now they got Jacoby in here who typically is their throwing quarterback. And they are going to roll out a little bit.
Throws a little bit off from Ellis, looking for Jack again on that right side. Just a quick out route. They're not looking to go downfield. They're looking to get as many yards as they can, get out of bounds, and hopefully put more points on the board before half.
Yep, and you know, how many timeouts do they got left?
Hopewell has all 3.
Has all 3.
Yep.
You know, they're not in a big hurry. You know, they still got Jacoby out there, but look who's next to him as a running back. Big number 8.
Big number. Well, and here's the thing: you've got big number 8 out there on the field. You've got Brickman out there on the field. Just the athleticism of these Hopewell kids to be able to play all these different positions. They're going to hand it off up the middle. Met. There's Mace Puckett making a tackle. Kramer on the carry. And now you're third down. A stop here by Carey. Granted, you probably, if you're Carey, you don't have time to score. Minute 40-ish. It'll be under 90 seconds when you get the ball back. But a stop is crucial going into half.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They've got to get a stop here. And, you know, they've got Jacoby out there still. Now they're in an empty look. Let's see how Carey's kind of looking around. Oh,
they got
empty.
Trips on the far side here. Brickman down here. There's nobody down here to cover him. Ellis over the middle, caught. It'll depend on the spot. They're going to give him a major spot there. It's a great throw from Ellis to Ritter.
And you know, they were an empty, and you can see the Carey kids just like, what are we gonna jump to here?
Hopewell's going to take a timeout, and you're exactly right. And that's interesting to me is every time they come trips, we don't see a shift by that Carey defense to come take care of that trips. They stay home and they trust what they're running. Well, I'm sorry, Carey Blue Devils fans, but it's not working here in the first half.
Well, you know, you got to give Hopewell Loudon credit. They've come out with that 3-quarterback system. You know, they've ran the Frankert kid. They've ran the Brickman kid. Jacoby's come in. Another huge throw for a first down. And we had one earlier that he made a great throw. And, you know, I wanted to say something. When they scored the last time, you know who the first guy was out there to congratulate him?
Ellis.
Jacoby Ellis.
Yeah.
The consummate team player. I don't care. Let's just win. And then he's able to come in here and make some good throws. This Hopewell Loudon team is the real deal.
Defensively, offensively, they've got plenty of weapons as now Frankert will come back into quarterback. I mean, I expect quarterback power here, probably up the right side. He'll go the same side as the back.
He's going to throw it.
There's the bubble. There's the bubble, and guess who it is? Brody Brickman. And that's what happens when you don't make that adjustment to shift somebody out there to cover that. You run a quick bubble. It's a great throw by Frankert, and nobody's there for Brickman.
And it's an easy throw.
Yes.
I don't care if you're an offensive lineman. You can make that throw.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think Coach Kodge is looking at, okay, now you're going to leave a guy in here extra to stop Frankert. We're going to throw the bubble. And we talked about that earlier. Who's going to cover the bubble? And great job by Hopewell Loudon recognizing that. Now they got Jacoby back in.
You got Jacoby in. You've got Frankert on his right hip. You've got Brickman out in the slot on the right side. Trips far. They're going to throw a quick throw. Jacoby, I will say this. He might have rushed that one a little bit because had he let that develop, he might have had Brickman open in the end zone.
Well, it looked like they were running an all hitch, and you know, the receiver looked one way and Jacoby threw it the other. So
yeah, he threw outside shoulder. The receiver turned to the inside. It's a great throw by Jacoby because that outside shoulder, nobody else is catching that but his guy. But yeah, it looks like you're right. They had the two inside guys on that trips look, run hitches. The far guy ran like a deep slant. Now they'll go twins on the top. Ellis still in, Frankert in the backfield.
You know, that's just.
Well, and we've got the Hopewell coaching staff on the right-hand side, and they seen the exact same thing I did. You know, this is a read look for Jacoby. If he hands that ball off to Frankert up the middle, he might walk into the end zone.
Well, and you just right now the Carey defense is just out of whack.
Yeah.
You know, they've got those guys running around. Oh, we're going to single up this guy. We're going to double cover this guy. Now they're in a trips look.
105 remaining
and
trips.
See number 18. Where do I go? Oh, I got to go over here, and he starts over here. You know, they've got to get settled down and just play some football.
We're going to get a timeout from Coach Kodge and Hopewell Loudon. And, you know, it's kind of funny. We haven't went over our keys to the game yet. I'm actually going to pull those up right now. But it's really kind of exactly what you and I talked about, keys to the game. We'll start with Carey. And it's bounced back from that week 1 loss, and it's stopped the passing game. And Jacoby Ellis has really thrown the ball kind of at will. Has it been for big numbers? No. But it's been important downs, and it's been great passes.
Right. You know, he's came in. They continued the drive on the second touchdown when they motioned Frankert out, and he threw a dime to get a first down. Gets another first down over here. Missed a couple passes down here. They weren't on the same page, but – you know, I'm more concerned about the Carey defense, and they're still out there talking. These guys, it seems like they need to get on the same page somewhere, somehow. Coach Kodge has got those guys off balance.
Well, and for Hopewell, as we're getting ready to get back to action, our two keys were get out early and control the tempo. Time of possession has went in favor of Hopewell, and it's 14-0 just before half with a fourth down here looking to get more. Ellis, he's got a wheel route he's going to look for. He'll get rid of it. Brickman's going to get the first down. How about the awareness by Brody Brickman to know where the marker was and extend for it? But I think the most impressive part there was the pocket presence from Jacoby Ellis. He stepped up. He didn't tuck it and run. He waited for that crosser.
Now look how many guys are in the box here. You got about 5 guys in the box. You can't tell me that they're not going to run the ball here at some point in time with the big Frankert kid. They've got him outnumbered in the box.
Ellis will do a great job of kind of throwing this one away. They were looking for that pick play again, Sean. You'll see it here. They went to run a pick play. Number 5, the slot guy went to set that illegal pick as it's supposed to be called. And it was that whip route.
The offensive guys don't do anything like that, do they?
Never. There's never a flag for that one, is there? But 37 seconds to go. Hopewell threatening again as they've got first and goal from the 10. And how long before we see Frankert under center or we see Brickman back in there at the running or at the quarterback spot to take off to the edge? They're going to stick with Ellis.
Now look at the box again. The box is awfully light. Here's the run.
Yep, Frankert's got a hole up the middle, and he's going to waltz into the end zone. Touchdown, Chieftains. Kellen Frankert is going to make it 20-0 Hopewell. And, boy, did you call that one.
Well, I mean, you could see, you know, they're gonna try and play out here, but they knew what they were going to do. They were going to come back to the Frankert kid inside. But once again, I want to see Carey do something. You know, give them a different look or shift or slant. You know, I know that these kids are big, tough kids. They just have to get into position. It just seems like they're confused.
Frankert now in at quarterback, and more than likely last time they did this, it was a keeper for him. It will be again. He's up the left side. It's a great tackle by Dash Puckett to prevent the two-point conversion.
The Brickman kid, His dad is a longtime assistant, was head coach at Lakota, was with Chris Algie many years at Macomb, teaches at Lakota. And, you know, so just a great football family. And then the Franker kid. You know, I coached his dad at Arcadia clear back in 1991, Shiloh. And it's kind of good to see him out here playing. And he looks just like his dad, except I think he's a lot faster than his dad.
And I tell you what, I think that's what's impressed me. This is my first time seeing Hopewell this year. You know, looking over their stats, defensively there was plenty that jumped at you. Offensively, they don't put up a lot of yards. They put up most of those points because of their defense. They force you into bad positions. They force 4 and outs. They force those turnover on downs. But this offense is the real deal as well. And when you've got 3 options that can play that position, who's going to stop them?
Well, and like I've kept alluding to, Carey looks confused.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I talked to Coach Merschman this week, that was one of the things that he mentioned was we have to be able to adjust to the 3-quarterback system. And they might have to go back in and get on the drawing board again. But, you know, I'm not going to count this Carey bunch out.
You never can. You know, we've seen what they did when they beat Coldwater back in 2021. We've seen what they've done all year. As that's a great tackle. Mason Reinhardt.
Well, you know, I just see this Hopewell Loudon team saying, we're going to come after you. And we're going to come after you every play, whether we're offense, defense, special teams, and we're going to hit you. And we're going to try and match your physicality with ours. And so far, I think Hopewell Loudon has done a better job of that.
Like we said, they've controlled the tempo. They've controlled the clock. They have moved the ball. Other than their first drive of the game, when Carey forced the 3 and out, they have moved the ball at will. Carey's still going to stay in the Maryland eye, Puckett behind Steen. Phoenix under center. He'll turn around. He's got a ball. He's going to look to take a shot downfield, and he overthrows his intended target.
Phoenix's pass intended for number 12, Boston.
And intended for Ritter, but that's kind of what Carey needs if they're going to be able to get back into this contest.
Well, you know, you mentioned the first Carey forcing Hopewell Loudon to punt.
Yeah.
But what happened on that punt? Immediately there was a turnover.
Yep.
And that changed the whole complexion of the game. Carey had a little bit of momentum, and then there was a turnover. But, you know, I'm not so sure you're going to catch Hopewell Loudon off guard right now, down 21-0, trying to run a tight end down the seam.
And this defense for Hopewell is just dominating the line of scrimmage. I don't think we've seen anybody, which I was not at the Week 1 game. The score kind of depicts that this is the same thing they did in Week 1. But they are dominating up front, as that's going to bring us to halftime, and it's all Hopewell Loudon.
All Hopewell Loudon. You know, they're taking the game to Carey. You see some guys walking up. You see some heads hang. You know, but then you see this guy at the quarterback. He said, come on, fellas, let's go. Let's go. And he's getting his guys to run in. Good for that number 10. That's the way to be a leader, quarterback.
That's going to have to be the message in the locker room is let's go Blue Devils. Hopewell Loudon up 20-0. We'll be back for the band show after this timeout.
Searching for stationery that feels personal? Make it truly inspired. From custom wedding invitations and greeting cards to business stationery and gifts, every design from Truly Inspired Paper Company is handcrafted in Ohio. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, saying thanks, or sharing everyday joy, we make it easy to create something beautiful and memorable. Visit trulyinspiredpaperco.com. and make every message truly inspired.
Our second selection comes from our senior show and was a #1 hit on the U.S. Billboard charts for 15 non-consecutive weeks in 2022. Released by English singer-songwriter Carey from his third studio album, here is As It Was. We conclude tonight's TV show with a song from singer-songwriters Taylor Swift's 7th studio album, Lover. This catchy bubblegum pop song was certified platinum twice and has won numerous awards and accolades for its music video and popularity on streaming services. Sing along as a private Carey plays Me.
kick things off, the legendary anthem that makes no introduction. It's the talent of Carey and interesting. Brace yourselves for a powerful performance that brings so much to the prayer.
Josh Banks welcomes you inside our Danners Towing and Recycling halftime show where the Chieftains lead the Blue Devils 20-0 alongside my colleague tonight, Sean Adams. And Sean, it was a Hopewell Loudon dominant first half.
Oh, just on both sides of the ball. You know, I can't say enough about, the three quarterback system for Hopewell. But you know what makes that work is that offensive line. That's led by number 72. What is it, Aiden Ewald.
Aiden Ewald on the offensive and defensive lines.
And the offense and defensive line. I think he's a senior, and this might be his third time All-Ohio coming up. Just an All-Ohio kid. Plays the tuba in the band. Just leading this offense and defensive line. And then you got to tackle Frankert, and then you got to turn around and try and tackle a fast Brickman kid. And then Jacoby comes in and throws just 2 dimes for first downs to keep the drives going.
You guys see the stats on your screen right now. Again, dominated by Hopewell. 56 yards passing, 88 yards rushing, 144 yards, no turnovers, 2 penalties for 10 yards, 9 first downs. Carey goes only 3 first downs, no completions, only 53 yards rushing, a turnover. Carey plays a clean half other than the turnovers. They have no penalties. But let's talk about that. The clean first half by both teams. Hopewell comes out, they go penalty on their first drive, nothing since.
No, just 2 disciplined football teams, doing what they're asked to do. Just a hard-fought game, and I'm anxious to see what kind of adjustments Carey comes out with here in the second half to try and maybe confuse this offensive line, because the first half it just looked like the offensive line knew where they were. They knew where they were going to block, and there was no confusion whatsoever, and they just did their jobs.
Well, and that's kind of like what we would talk about, when we would be at a commercial break after a touchdown or something along those lines, is we're not seeing very much movement from the Carey defense. They're coming out there lining up, and they're trying to punch you in the mouth. But when you do that every play, blocking assignments are designed for a reason. You know that better than anybody. If you have your assignment and you execute against a front that doesn't have a stunt or you don't have a linebacker coming in, it makes it really easy.
Right. I always tell our guys, we're not going to line up and say, here we are, come whoop us. You're going to have to think a little bit. You're going to have to study the game plan. We're going to move people. We're going to shift people. We're going to stem people. And, I'm of the belief that the offensive line is the dumb cattle and my defensive line are the scholars. And we want to try and make them think. And when you get somebody thinking, they can't play aggressive.
And that's what we have to see, I think, out of Carey in the second half. Their defense has to force Hopewell into a mistake. It's 20-0. This Carey offense is not made to come back from a 20-0 deficit. They have to score on this opening drive, and they have to either force another 3-and-out or a turnover if they want back in this game.
And you're right. It's not insurmountable. But this, I don't care if it's this game or the Buckeyes game. The first drive of the third quarter is the most important drive of any football game, in my opinion. And, we're going to see what kind of adjustments that Carey's made, both offensively and defensively.
That'll take us out of our Danner's Towing and Recycling halftime show. Thank you so much to Danner's Towing and Recycling for sponsoring our pregame show, halftime show, and postgame show tonight. A great sponsor for the Carey Blue Devils, but that's going to bring us back into the Carey Porvello Federal Credit Union scoreboard and second half action. Carey will start with possession.
Well, I made mention of Trip Phoenix. At halftime, guys were walking off. Trip Phoenix is like, come on, fellas, let's go. And he tries to get them to lead him in and leads them into the locker room. I see him over there trying to get them fired up. Let's see what kind of leadership Trip Phoenix has coming out of the halftime.
Returnable kick up the left side, not a whole lot doing, but it might be some of Carey's better starting field position tonight, as they'll start at about the 32-yard line, and Trip Phoenix will lead out this Blue Devil offense who has struggled so far here this evening.
Well, and, we've made mention about this front four with Hopewell. And then to accompany the front four, they're bringing everybody else even closer.
Yep.
Just because they have the athletes on the back end to try and outflank people. So here they are in the double slot.
I mean, here's your Hopewell, your safety 7 yards off the ball.
Now the thing about that double slot that gives you is it gives you an ISO on either side.
Yep.
And they're just trying to find the bubble and trying to run the ISO there. They led the backup through there on the front.
Steen gets another carry there. I'm curious on when we're going to see maybe the toss out of that double slot. That ISO up the middle to Steen. You run that enough, toss to either one of the pockets.
Well, see, now they've broken it a little bit.
They're going to go gun.
And they're going gun, and they're shifting some people around, and now they just come back with a trap. Good play design. Just a simple trap that they've run probably since they were in kindergarten. And, they got people spread out, and they made people think.
Exactly, and that's the thing when you're facing this Blue Devil offense. If you're going to stay in that Maryland eye or that